Hello students, welcome to the lecture on planning, and after this lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Explain purpose of planning, discuss types of planning, understand nature of planning, discuss planning process, understand management by objectives, explain strategic management, define premising and forecasting, discuss decision making, and understand global planning. Let's first discuss about planning. Planning means looking ahead. It is deciding in advance what is to be done. Planning includes forecasting. According to Henry Fayol, purveyance, which is an essential element of planning, covers not merely looking into the future, but making provisions for it. A plan is then a projected course of action. All planning involves anticipation of the future course of events and therefore bears an element of uncertainty in respect of its success. Planning determines both long-term and short-term objectives and also of the individual departments as well as the entire organization. Let's now understand the purpose of planning. Purpose of planning is important due to the following reasons. To manage by objectives. All the activities of an organization are designed to achieve certain specified objectives. However, planning makes the objectives more concrete by focusing attention on them. To offset uncertainty and change. Future is always full of uncertainties and changes. Planning foresees the future and makes the necessary provisions for it. To secure economy in operation. Planning involves the selection of most profitable course of action that would lead to the best result at the minimum costs. To help in coordination. Coordination is indeed the essence of management. The planning is the base of it. Without planning, it is not possible to coordinate the different activities of an organization. To make control effective. The controlling function of management relates to the comparison of the planned performance with the actual performance. To increase organizational effectiveness. Mere efficiency in the organization is not important. It should also lead to productivity and effectiveness. Planning enables the manager to measure the organizational effectiveness in the context of the stated objectives and take further actions in this direction. There are 8 types of planning. Let's discuss about types of planning. Planning in simple terms involves drawing up a scheduled list of activities required to achieve a particular goal. Strategic planning is the kind of planning that provides direction for the organization and how to proceed in the long run. The organization makes clear the strategy it intends on pursuing to achieve all of its targets and allocates resources and takes action accordingly. In order to be able to devise the organization's strategy, it is necessary that the organization knows where it stands in terms of its capital availability, its strengths, and its weaknesses. The team at the head of the organization most often does strategic planning. After considering all factors, they devise the strategy that would best help the company meet its goals. While strategic planning looks at the organization's growth in the long run, operational planning is more about tactical and short-term planning. This planning is essential to ensure that the organization is consistent in terms of its production and distribution of goods and services to the market. As operational planning is for short-term periods, it further helps in devising budgets for the organization. It provides a plan for the allocation of resources and at the same time, it sheds light on the policy decisions of the organization. Money matters. For the continued sustenance of anything from a household to an organization, money is important. But things don't end with just having enough money. Budgeting appropriately and planning on how to use the finance available are signs of a good organization. Financial planning in an organization deals with the preparation of a budget. A budget is a list of all the planned expenditures and revenues of an organization. In certain organizations, the budget is also sometimes referred to as the financial plan, which comprises of the balance sheet, the income statement, and the cash flow statement. Financial planning implies estimating the expenses the organization will incur and the revenues it hopes to earn. Marketing is the way by which companies promote themselves, their company, products, and services to gain the attention of the people. Marketing is done to make the organization visible in the eyes of the common man so as to garner interest in their business. Market planning is needed to achieve all the marketing targets and objectives. Marketing can be done for any aspect of the organization, their products, range of services, or even a brand they are launching. Most often, organizations have a separate marketing department which is exclusively in charge of carrying out marketing activities on behalf of the company. Some organizations plan proactively. Proactive planning means to plan in advance for something that has not happened as yet. By planning ahead of any event, the organization has more leverage and is armed better to deal with the situation whenever and if it arises. The event can be anything from floods to earthquakes to riots or strike by employees. Proactive planning follows the motto of "It's better to be safe than sorry." There are a number of other planning processes too that are used by organizations. Some of the others include long-term planning, short-term planning, reactive planning, formal and informal planning. However, the above-mentioned ones are most commonly followed by organizations. No matter what it is named, any kind of planning is absolutely essential for the growth and success of any organization. The following is the nature of planning. Planning is goal-oriented. Every plan must contribute in some positive way towards the accomplishment of group objectives. Planning has no meaning without being related to goals. Primacy of planning. Planning is the first of the managerial functions. It precedes all other management functions. Pervasiveness of planning. Planning is found at all levels of management. Top management looks after strategic planning. Middle management is in charge of administrative planning. Lower management has to concentrate on operational planning. Efficiency, economy, and accuracy. Efficiency of plan is measured by its contribution to the objectives as economically as possible. Planning also focuses on accurate forecasts. Coordination. Planning coordinates the what, who, how, where, and why of planning. Without coordination of all activities, we cannot have united efforts. Limiting factors. A planner must recognize the limiting factors, money, manpower, etc., and formulate plans in the light of these critical factors. Flexibility. The process of planning should be adaptable to changing environmental conditions. Planning is an intellectual process. The quality of planning will vary according to the quality of the mind of the manager. All efforts are directed towards desired objectives or results. Unproductive work and waste of resources can be minimized. Planning enables a company to remain competitive with other rivals in the industry. Through careful planning, crises can be anticipated and mistakes or delays avoided. Planning can point out the need for future change, and the enterprise can manage the change effectively. Planning enables the systematic and thorough investigation of alternative methods or alternative solutions to a problem. Thus, we can select the best alternative to solve any business problem. Planning maximizes the utilization of available resources and ensures optimum productivity and profits. Planning provides the groundwork for laying down control standards. Environmental factors are uncontrollable and unpredictable to a large extent. Therefore, planning cannot give perfect insurance against uncertainty. Planning is many times very costly. Tendency towards inflexibility to change is another limitation of planning. Planning delays action. Planning encourages a false sense of security against risk or uncertainty. The planning process involves the following steps. Analysis of external environment. The external environment covers uncontrollable and unpredictable factors such as technology, market, socio-economic climate, political conditions, etc., within which our plans will have to operate. Analysis of internal environment. The internal environment covers relatively controllable factors such as personnel resources, finance, facilities, etc., at the disposal of the firm. Such an analysis will give an exact idea about the strengths and weaknesses of the enterprise. Determination of mission. The mission should describe the fundamental reason for the existence of an organization. It will give firm direction and make out activities meaningful and interesting. Determination of objectives. The organizational objectives must be spelled out in key areas of operations and should be divided according to various departments and sections. The objectives must be clearly specified and measurable as far as possible. Every member of the organization should be familiar with its objectives. Forecasting. Forecasting is a systematic attempt to problem into the future by inference from known facts relating to the past and the present. Intelligent forecasting is essential for planning. The management should have no stone unturned in reducing the element of guesswork in preparing forecasts by collecting relevant data using the scientific techniques of analysis and inference. Determining alternative course of action. It is a common experience of all thinkers that an action can be performed in several ways, but there is a particular way which is the most suitable for the organization. The management should try to find out these alternatives and examine them carefully in the light of planning premises. Evaluating alternative courses. Having sought out alternative courses and examined their strong and weak points, the next step is to evaluate them by weighing the various factors. Selecting the best. The next step, selecting the course of action, is the point at which the plan is adopted. It is the real point of decision making. Establishing the sequence of activities. After the best program is decided upon, the next task is to work out its details and formulate the steps in full sequences. Let's discuss about management by objectives. Management by objectives is a comprehensive managerial system that integrates many key managerial activities in a systematic manner and that is consciously directed towards the effective and efficient achievement of organizational and individual objectives. Early impetus to management by objectives. Since many centuries, people have used their common sense and given importance to management by objectives. It was in 1954 that Peter F. Drucker first emphasized that objectives must be set in all areas where performance affects the health of the enterprise. Emphasis on performance appraisal. In traditional appraisal programs, personality traits were used for evaluating subordinates. But when MBO was implemented, emphasis was given on performance rather than personality, which led to self-appraisal and self-development. In management by objective programs that emphasizes performance appraisals and motivation, the focus tends to be on short-term objectives, which may lead to undesirable managerial behavior. Due to these shortcomings, many organizations now include long-range and strategic planning in management by objectives programs. Management by objectives has undergone many changes. It has been used in performance appraisals as an instrument for motivating individual and in strategic planning. But there are still other managerial subsystems that can be integrated into MBO process. Various managerial activities need to be integrated into a system. For MBO to be a comprehensive system of managing indicates that most key managerial activities can and should be integrated with the MBO process. The degree of integration, however, differs for individual activities. The process starts at the top of an organization and has the active support of the chief executive who gives direction to the organization. It is not essential the objective setting starts at the top. It can start at the divisional level, at the marketing level, or even lower level.
Hello Ben, can I explain any management concepts?
Professor Siegfried, what is management by objectives, MBO?
Well Ben, management by objectives, MBO, is a process of defining objectives within an organization so that management and employees agree to the objectives and understand what they need to do in the organization in order to achieve them. The term management by objectives was first popularized by Peter Drucker in his 1954 book titled, The Practice of Management.
Professor, what is the core benefit of management by objectives?
The benefit of MBO is participative goal setting, choosing course of actions and decision making. An important part of the MBO is the measurement and the comparison of the employee's actual performance with the standard set. Ideally, when employees themselves have been involved with the goal setting and choosing the course of action to be followed by them, they are more likely to fulfill their responsibilities.
Given appropriate planning premises, the first step in setting objectives is for the top manager to determine what he or she perceives to be the purpose or mission and the more important goals of the enterprise for a given period ahead. The goals set by the superior are preliminary based on an analysis and judgment as to what can and should be accomplished by the organization within a certain period. The relationship between expected results and the responsibility of attaining is often overlooked. Ideally, each goal and sub-goal should be one particular person's responsibility. After making sure that subordinate managers have been informed of pertinent general objectives, strategies and planning premises, the superior can then proceed to work with subordinates in setting their objectives. The superiors ask what goals the subordinates believe they can accomplish, in what time period and with what resources. Superiors must also be patient counselors, helping their subordinates develop consistent and supportive objectives and being careful not to set goals that are impossible to achieve. The objectives must be predetermined. A clearly defined objective provides the clear direction for managerial effort. Objectives must be realistic. Objectives must be measurable. Objectives must have social sanction. All objects are interconnected and mutually supportive. Objectives may be constructed into a hierarchy. Improvement of managing. Managing sense in a manager improves clarity of organization. Management by objective forces managers to clarify roles, that is, organizational roles and structures. Encouragement of personal commitment. It encourages people to commit themselves to their goals. Development of effective controls. Management by objectives help in effective planning. It also aids in developing effective controls. Objectives may be defined as the goals which an organization tries to achieve. Objectives are described as the end points of planning. Let's now discuss about strategic management. The term strategy has been adapted from war and is being increasingly used in business to reflect broad overall objectives and policies of an enterprise. The specific approach to strategic management can depend upon the size of an organization and the proclivity to change of its business environment. These points are highlighted below. A global transnational organization may employ a more structured strategic management model due to its size, scope of operations, and need to encompass stakeholder views and requirements. It is the right combination of different factors. It relates the business organization to the environment. It is an action to meet a particular challenge, to solve particular problems, or to attain desired objectives. Strategy is a means to an end and not an end in itself. It is formulated at the top management level, involves assumption of certain calculated risks. There are three phases in strategy formation. Determination of objectives, ascertaining the specific areas of strengths and weakness in the total environment. Once a strategy has been identified, it must then be put into practice. This may involve organizing, resourcing, and utilizing change management procedures. Organizing. Organizing relates to how an organizational design of a company can fit with the chosen strategy. Resourcing. Resourcing is literally the resources required to put the strategy into practice, ranging from human resources to capital equipment and to information and communication technology-based implements. Change management. In the process of implementing strategic plans, an organization must be wary of forces that may legitimately seek to obstruct such changes. There are many reasons why strategic plans fail, especially failure to execute by overcoming the four key organizational hurdles: cognitive hurdle, motivational hurdle, resource hurdle, political hurdle. Seymour Tiles offers 6 criteria for evaluating an appropriate strategy. Internal consistency. The strategy of an organization must be consistent with its other strategies, goals, policies, and plans. Consistency with the environment. The strategy must be consistent with the external environment. The strategy selected should enhance the confidence and capability of the enterprise to manage and adapt with or give command over the environmental forces. Realistic assessment. Strategy needs a realistic assessment of the resources of the enterprise, men, money, and materials, both existing resources as also the resources the enterprise can command. Acceptable degree of risk. Any major strategy carries with it certain elements of risk and uncertainty. The amount of risk inherent in a strategy should be within the bearable capacity of the enterprise. Workability. Strategy must be feasible and should produce the desired results. Let's now discuss about premising and forecasting. The most overlooked but the most essential step. This is establishment of and the agreement by managers and planners to utilize consistent assumptions critical to plans under consideration. Values of forecasting. This compels thinking ahead, looking to the future, and providing for it. Discover areas where necessary control is lacking. Participation throughout the organization helps to unify and coordinate plans. Areas for forecasting include economic, social, political, legal, and techniques. One approach of forecasting is Delphi technique, in which experts are asked to forecast till convergence of opinion begins to evolve. Now we move on to our next topic, decision making. Decision is a kind of choice of a desirable alternative. Decision making is also an important element of planning. Decision making implies that there are various alternatives and the most desirable alternative is chosen to solve the problem or to arrive at expected results. The decision maker has freedom to choose an alternative. Decision making may not be completely rational but may be judgmental and emotional. Decision making is goal oriented. Decision making is a mental or intellectual process because the final decision is made by the decision maker. A decision may be expressed in words or may be implied from behavior. Choosing from among the alternative courses of operation implies uncertainty about the final result of each possible course of operation. Decision making is rational. It is taken only after a thorough analysis and reasoning and weighing the consequences of the various alternatives. Herbert Simon has grouped organizational decisions into two categories based on the procedure followed. They are programmed decisions, non-programmed decisions. Programmed decisions. Programmed decisions are routine and repetitive and are made within the framework of organizational policies and rules. Non-programmed decisions. Non-programmed decisions are decisions taken to meet non-repetitive problems. The decision-making process is described below. Specific objective, problem identification, diagnosis, analysis, search for alternatives, evaluation of alternatives, choice of alternative, action, results. An effective decision is one which should contain three aspects. These aspects are given below. Action orientation, goal direction, effective in implementation. There are two major approaches to decision making in an organization. The authoritarian method, in which an executive figure makes a decision for the group, and the group method, in which the group decides what to do. Let's discuss about global planning. Global planning is a solutions-based meeting and incentive planning services firm. Global strategic planning is the primary function of managers. The process of strategic planning provides a formal structure in which managers analyze the company's external environments, analyze the company's internal environments, define the company's business and mission, set corporate objectives, quantify goals, formulate strategies, and make tactical plans. Global planning supplies what you need when you need it. Our planners tailor our specialized services to address your specific needs. We can provide all of your meeting management needs. There are some specific services of global planning. Now, in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. Planning is a mental process requiring the use of intellectual faculties, imagination, foresight, sound judgment, etc. Purpose of planning. Planning enables the manager to measure the organizational effectiveness in the context of the stated objectives. Planning, in simple terms, involves drawing up a scheduled list of activities required to achieve a particular goal. Reviewing the planning process. Through feedback mechanism, an attempt is made to secure that which was originally planned. Management by objectives is a comprehensive managerial system that integrates many key managerial activities in a systematic manner. The specific approach to strategic management can depend upon the size of an organization. Planning premises are defined as the anticipated environment in which plans are expected to operate. The forecast is a prerequisite of planning. In the second case, the forecast is the result of planning. Decision making is also an important element of planning. Global planning is a solutions-based meeting an incentive planning services firm.